Today, we are gonna give you a tour of my dream office. Well, I thought it was my dream office, but I upgraded. I'll show you at the end of the video how I got this result. But let me give you a tour of everything that was inside the office. This is arguably one of the best setups to be fully productive and get shit done. So let me give you a tour. It all starts with this, right over here. So I have a MacBook M1 and this thing has been a workhorse. I've had it for the last, I guess, 3 years and thoroughly impressed. I have almost nothing that I need from it that it doesn't give me. They brought out new laptops in the recent months and to be honest, I have no interest in upgrading. This one is all spec'd out. It's got 1 terabyte internal, it's got super fast speeds, and does everything I need, so I'm pretty happy. Because I'm a travel vlogger, I literally use this thing in planes, trains, and I've become so good with the trackpad and so used to the screen that I never thought I would ever need a mouse or an external monitor. But just the other day, I got this, and honestly, it has changed my workflow. So the cool thing is, I take this, I put it over here inside this oaky wood little laptop mount, and using this braided cable, it's so simple. All I do is I plug it in there and within 2 or 3 seconds, this thing just auto powers on. It's absolutely amazing. This monitor is 27 inches. It's the Mac Studio display and it definitely isn't cheap. I think it's about $1,600 in America. It's a little bit more in Indonesia, but for anyone that's used external monitors before, you know how frustrating it is when you plug things in, it doesn't connect, it doesn't link. This is seamless connectivity and the screen just looks so good. You never want to go back to using your laptop screen. So the screen is awesome, but another big addition was this. This Magic Keyboard actually gives me my fingerprint ID, which saves me a ton of time because if I have to make a payment, if I have to log into a platform, I use my fingerprint and it basically populates my password automatically. That's a huge saver. I just got this. This is the MX Master 3S. Saw a bunch of people on YouTube talking about it, so I was like, it must be good. And they were right. This mouse has been really phenomenal. After being a trackpad guy due to my travels, this is my first ever mouse. And I have to say, it took me a few days to get used to it, but now I have both the trackpad and the mouse, and I find myself using the mouse mostly for like web browsing, and then when it comes to video editing, I use the trackpad. But together they really play nicely and it's been super, super effective. I've been feeling very productive at this setup. Now, just the other day, I got myself this and I'm really happy I did. And what I've loved so much about this setup is that it actually creates a bit of darkness underneath the stand, which really almost like accentuates all that's happening on the screen. But best of all, it hides all the clutter and mess underneath. And underneath here, I have a couple of cables and I can just basically plug them directly into my SSDs. You won't even see what's happening beneath here. And just like that, I have hard drives plugged in. Underneath here, I also have my Focusrite amp, and this is the Scarlett 2i2, and it's been really, really good. It allows me to get professional audio from my podcast mic directly into my laptop or my computer setup. And something that you're probably noticing already, a little bit of eye candy, is these. These just came in the other day, and they sound... Let me just show you. But wait. So these are wireless speakers, and the amazing thing is they actually use AirPlay. So what that means is I can basically go on my Spotify account and using my iPhone or going on my computer, I can basically do the drop down here and select these speakers even if I'm in a different room, even if I'm on a different device. So I could even have you go on Spotify and your account and just basically pick it as long as you're connected to the Wi-Fi network. And having had Marshall speakers before where the Bluetooth connectivity would drive me crazy, this alone has been worth the improvement. Like, putting aside the sound quality, the connectivity is flawless. And I'm gonna be using AirPlay speakers moving forward for all of my projects. Las Villa is gonna have different zones all across the home where you can basically pick, you know, speakers in the living room, speakers in the courtyard, the pool area. But for these ones here, it's been a game changer for the office. And so I actually have a little wireless transmitter that I had to buy separately to send from here all the way to the subwoofer over there. And the subwoofer has been a really nice touch because as nice as these speakers sound, they're not enough volume. There's not enough to really get the pushing of air. And so that's where the sub fills them in so beautifully. These were not cheap, and that was not cheap either. The speakers here, I think were around $1,300. The subwoofer is probably another $1,300. So pretty zesty setup, but this is where I live my life. Literally, I don't leave this room. So as somebody that really enjoys listening to my music, it's kind of like my therapy. It's cathartic for me. I felt it was okay to splurge there. Continuing on, a few other oaky wood things. We got this really nice felt pad. To be honest, it's a little scratchy, so I might just have my teammate do something funny. I read online, if you take some shampoo or conditioner and then freeze it overnight, it actually softens it. We'll try that. Then from there, we have another little tray here with some fun little accessories to speak. This right here, a very exciting addition to the office. It's a fan. How cool is that? Actually, it's probably the worst fan I ever bought. It's a Dyson fan and it's so horribly underpowered. And when you turn it up to like a 10 level, and even at the highest level of strength, it sounds like a plane's about to land in here. So I actually hate it, but it's wireless. Then from there, this is one of the videography beasts. When I'm on the road, the production assistant will usually be using this. I love the look of it. It's so cinematic, it's so beautiful. It's got built-in ND filters, and although it's really heavy, which can be a drawback, it does bring a little bit of stability to the body, so the footage looks really cinematic in a way, but the built-in NDs are by far the best part of it. We can always get that beautiful motion blur with the doubling effect.
Only when it works, yeah.
When it works. Yeah, there is a problem with the ND filters right now. We gotta send this in for repair. But they're working, it's just a bit of a pain. Carrying on here, we've got some rapid storage. These are not network attached, so they are basically just plug and play. You do have to use a cable to get access to it, but this one right here is a NAS, network attached storage, which means that I could access the files in here from Zimbabwe or from Canada. To be honest, I haven't really used it that way much. Some things could be better organized, I'm not gonna lie. For any NAS you have a lot of valuable things inside of there, and that is your footage. And so what you need to be careful of is power shortages, or when power gets cut abruptly, you can fry your data. And so to prevent that, I actually have this thing here. This is a backup battery, and it basically gives the NAS about a 5-minute worth of battery, and the NAS intelligently turns itself off during that 5-minute period. So it's a nice safety to have, and yeah, I think I paid a couple $100 for that. Here I've got these beautiful plants. I water them twice a day. They're looking pretty good, healthy. On to the other side. Oh, and did I mention I paid for the stupid upgrade? And I'm not even mad that I did. I got this like swivel up and down mechanism. It actually feels so good on the Mac Studio. I'm happy I did. Honestly, there's certain times of the day where I'm working and I'm slouched. And then there's other times where I'm like, just had my coffee, I'm sitting upright. So whoop, I'm glad I don't have to, you know, mess around with it every time, because I do probably change its height at least once a day. Then from there, carrying on here, these are my SSDs. Been using Sabrent 8TB SSDs for the last 3 to 4 years. I highly recommend them. They're very expensive, but they've been good. I have one problem where I had to basically send one in. They took care of it, so I would say reliability's been pretty strong. Then from there, we got this. This is also oaky wood. This is like a charger for my phone. I need to put one of those discs inside so it charges, but just go like that. And now you kind of got a little clock and you can see your notifications, even though I'm always on airplane mode. I never take off airplane mode, otherwise my phone would disrupt my life. Then from here, this is my go-to microphone. It's the Shure SM7B. Pretty standard podcast mic. It's phenomenal. I have 2 of them. One of them's on a stand over there, where you'll see eventually. But this one's kind of my, like, you know, if I'm doing a presentation on Zoom, maybe it's a live stream for Lost Creator Academy, I'll plug this into the cable, which is currently right here, tucked away in the corner. I mean, I think you get the point. You plug it in. Then it goes back to that Scarlett and right into my computer. So I have professional audio for Zoom. Maybe I'm recording a tutorial anything I need, it's ready to go. And I think that the thing you're gonna start to notice is like everything in this office is optimized so that if I have to turn on the audio, if I have to access a file, if I want to listen to music, we're cutting out those extra wasted seconds and eventually minutes and hours and days over a long period of time of wastage. So it's super optimized. I know it comes at a cost, but you know, if you can make working a true pleasure, it means you work more. And when you work more, you make that money back. At least that's how I look at it. From there, we've got a bunch of outlets over here. It's a little bit of a mess. Ideally, we would have had this set up a little bit more aesthetically, but yeah, little bird's nest over here. This was like $10 on like Tokopedia. But you can find these little LED lights. You can change its color, and in the evening it creates a nice little glow. We've got 2 floating shelves here. This was a really cool gift from someone. I took a subscriber on a trip to Malaysia. He gave me that. This is a vintage yashika. This is one of the Indonesian gods. Apparently one of my teammates said that it's the representation of a leader. So I thought that was very sweet when she gave that to me, and I keep it there. And then this is, well, I'll show you.
Shows your skills.
There's no redos here.
Nope.
Got it.
Damn.
Bunch of other little tiny things here or there. R6, normally it's not up there, but anyways. Got the dart that we threw at the map of Indonesia. Took me on one of the most epic adventures of my life. This is the play button. The other one's back in Canada. You get one at 100,000, at 1 million, at 10 million. So yeah, we're working hard for the next one. Got a ways to go. This is my favorite animal. I love the jaguar. Maybe the most iconic part of the office is the follow me sign. I got that many years ago. I just thought it was funny. It was like very cliche content creator, influencer. It's the space. I'm happy with it.
Isn't follow me this hum thing? Follow me. Shows that stuff. That's it, perfect.
Up here, one of the lesser aesthetic parts of the office is this black AC unit, but whatever. I'm traveling in about a week, and one of the things we're gonna do is actually take out this wall. You know what happened? I told my contractor, I want a concrete wall, and this is what they gave me. This is what they called concrete. And I arrived and I was like, that's not concrete. They're like, yes it is. Maybe by technicalities it's some form of a concrete, but it's horrible. It cracks, when water gets put on it, it basically shows streak marks. It's like kind of falling apart down there next to my productivity slippers. Hopefully when I come back, that'll be fixed. I also kind of want to spruce up the drawers. They're looking, let's just say the materials used weren't the most premium of woods. There was definitely some cost cutting going on. And yeah, back to the last little touches. These kind of fun little Edison bulbs, I like them. They're a nice little touch. The idea of this entire office wasn't just to be my productivity hub, but also a set. And so these Edison bulbs were kind of like the cutoff point. You wouldn't really see the AC unit. I put it as high as I could. And so when you watch my videos, you probably have seen it many times with the follow me sign. The idea here was to be able to show everything from like the creator tools, the computer, maybe a couple cameras mixed in. I wanted to be able to show some fun little toys and memorabilia from my travels, and also some plants. So that's kind of where we landed. I don't think it's my dream background office. It is my dream productivity office. So I think in terms of a film set, there's definitely a lot to be improved upon, but I don't think that this will be my office to go all in on. One day I will soon have that office, so stay tuned. By far, my #1 productivity tool is the one that makes working just bliss. Nice. Yeah, I drink a lot of sparkling water. Oh, let me show you. I always keep them super organized, just like me. I think Nicholas just cleaned them.
Just a little bit.
Oh my god, it's never looked this good before. So here's my charging drawer. This is actually a great tip for anyone, is to basically put a power adapter in the back of the drawer. And then from there, when you're back from a shoot, it makes it super easy to just drop in your batteries and throw that mess out of sight. So when you come back and it's time to go to your next shoot, open it up, it's all charged and ready to go. Over here, we've got some sort of like a hard drive drawer. Over here, this is basically my action cam drawer. So lots of Insta360, a lot of GoPros, and even a couple DJI cameras in there, harnesses, mounts, And over here, now the one thing I will give this fan is it's nice and low profile, so it gives space for the drawers to open. This is what my drawers normally look like. This is actually very helpful. I just used it the other day. It's a teleprompter. And so I don't use teleprompters very often, but when I do use them, they really do help. It's a bit of a skill to learn how to read without showing the viewer that you're reading, but it really streamlines when you have a big script. Miscellaneous drawer. This is usually my lens and miscellaneous drawer. Nicholas, you were supposed to, why didn't you clean this drawer?
I didn't have enough time.
Yeah, I'm a bit of a mess. That's not my strong suit. I'm by nature a little bit disorganized. This is my cable drawer. If I had kept all my cables, I could probably fill 3 more of these, but I've basically kept the essentials. So you've seen 50% of the office. Now, I'll show you the other 50%. This side's gonna be pretty quick though. So over here, this is my go-to work chair. I paid $800 for this chair about 5 years ago, and that might sound stupid, but if you think about it, you're sitting on your ass, editing, answering emails, doing whatever you're doing for hours and hours a day, so you should probably get a chair that takes care of your body. And I'm not saying you have to spend that much, but definitely get an ergonomic chair. It's been one of the best investments I ever made. I literally am such a fan of this chair. You know, one thing is the fabric, this thing here, the mesh, has gotten looser over the years, and sadly the company said there's no way to replace just the mesh, and I'm not about to spend another $800, so I have lost a little bit of support down here. Maybe this isn't the best chair or the go-to one, but things cost a little bit more in Indonesia if you're gonna buy the premium stuff. There's a lot of import taxes, so it's probably easy to find a nice $300, $400 chair, but do invest in a good one. From there, this is quite a new addition. This has been pretty trendy recently. I've seen a lot of people getting them. It's not a very good one. It's like a cheap plastic, but it's a nice setup to have. This is a standing desk, and why I'm excited about it is because not only does it, in theory, allow me the ability to come over here and let's say I'm doing emails, I can basically use this computer. This is my old iMac Studio. I'm logged into my iCloud account, so what's happening over there can also be happening simultaneously here. So maybe I move from there to go do some emails here. I say maybe because I haven't actually done it. Then from there, we have this cool oaky wood headphone holder that also has a charger right here. What's it called in it?
A wireless charger.
Wireless charger, that's the word. The other thing that I think excited me more about the standing desk than actually working while standing is I can also use this as almost like a bit of a tripod. So if I am setting up my camera view over here, I can put a camera on here and I can adjust the height using the standing desk, which is nice for very fine movements. Just, you know, a little down, a little up. But I'll explain to you in a sec why this actually won't be so helpful much longer, because I've just added a new upgrade that will be soon installed. Then from there, another one of these little felt pads, keyboard, magic mouse, and yeah, the iMac Studio is a beautiful piece of kit, but in 2023, it's not very practical because it cannot handle 4K footage that comes from this camera without running proxy media. For those of you that don't know what that means, basically, it's just not a pleasure. It freezes, it lags too much because it doesn't understand the film length. For those of you that don't understand what I mean, no worries. It's still a great computer for 90% of things, just not for video editing in 2023. Over here, this is a $80 chair, and it honestly does the trick. It's a nice chair, very, very nice.
Co-workers get a cheap chair.
Exactly. Here we have another Shure SM7B. I just splurged a little bit on this microphone stand, and I'm glad I did. I can't tell you how many times I've put this microphone onto one of my cheap stands and it has gone like this and fallen. It's a miracle I haven't broken one of these microphones. But that's kind of where, you know, sometimes you buy cheap things and you realize afterhand that you have to go buy the expensive thing. So sometimes it is good to invest in the better one. And this one just has way more tolerance to weight and it feels way sturdier, so that's good. Then from there, this is my windowsill where I just throw my mess. So here, we've got lighters everywhere because every now and then we burn like an incense. We, Palo Santo? I don't know. Ruby buys this like stick that we burn sometimes. It smells nice. It smells like Tulum.
Super healthy.
Maybe. Maybe not. This is a remote controller to the Aperture 120D. which has been such an awesome rock solid light. You can control the white balance, the luminance. It gets really, really bright, plenty bright for this tiny office. I'll give you a tour of the bathroom because it's also by extension a part of the office. We could use a bigger office, I'll say that. Over here is another light. This one right here has been a little bit of fun. This is a GVM, which is a hilarious name. It's Great Video Maker. Just like the most like Chinese Alibaba light of all time. With this light, I can basically change the RGB. So this could go purple, blue, green, and it's nice when it's dark in here because I can actually, you know, I have two of them. I can make one side of the wall green, one side purple, one side blue, one side orange. For all you orange and teal lovers out there, I know that's what you're gonna do. Don't even kid yourself. Overall, I think as far as money goes, it's good for what I paid. I think they were about $150 for the set of two. Pretty good Amazon value. Here, my water dispenser. See, I think the best thing to do when building a productivity station is reduce the amount of excuses you have to leave that room. And so that meant having a water dispenser that's really not that far away from the one downstairs, but if I have to walk downstairs, that's a 15% chance that I get called over by a friend, by Ruby, by someone, by a delicious thing that's being cooked, and now I'm out of the zone. So if you can reduce the distractions, it's usually a worthwhile investment. Over here, my coworker, as usual, napping on the job. It's all good, man. We're not judged. Coda likes to sleep here actually more than Kevin does, mostly because Kevin can't get upstairs with those tiny legs, Coda can. So another thing worth showing you is right here. Not normally kept here, but again, this is a workstation, not a showroom. This is a brand new investment, and yeah, I think I'm happy with it. Well, in fact, I'm very happy with it. This is the Air 3, a DJI drone that has recently come out. It's, for the most part, a very reasonable size, and the quality is phenomenal. The range is amazing. Like, the build quality is so good. The experience of using the remote, the whole thing, it's just so premium. But to be honest, I am still, like, when I use this, I'm like, I probably could have happily used my Mini. Anyways, this thing right here has been my companion. It's been around the world with me. I can literally put it in my pocket. This thing just went in a river the other day when we had a Lost Creator Academy trip here in Bali. We had like 40 creators from around the world all come together, and it was such a fun trip. And I was like, guys, like, say hi to the drone. And I was like, I took it off, and then within like 2 seconds it went right into the river because I put the propeller on backwards. But that's a story for another day. This drone is still my favorite. I think the video quality is honestly, it's good enough for YouTube. Hands down, it's shockingly good for the size of that thing. The range is reasonable, I can mostly get the shot. I'm at a stage in my life where, for the most part, aside from that C70, I'm going for lightweight equipment that gets the shot. The reason why I put up with something like a C70 is because if I have a dedicated person on the road with me, they can be fully locked in on getting the best visual quality while I'm more focused on getting the story. You know, convenient equipment is going to help you as a narrator stay focused on the story, and that's the most important thing that you're doing. What else is to be said? I got a couple of these. This one is the RS3, very solid gimbal, but as all gimbals go, you buy it and you use it twice and then it sits on a shelf and collects dust. So what did I do? I went and bought another one. Literally the dumbest thing ever, but maybe it's gonna, I believe this one actually might get used. I went and bought the bigger one. This one is the RS3 Pro. So basically that exact same one, just with a bigger payload. And that's so that it can support this. And basically, I'm creating a digital nomad series. Episode 1 is currently with the editor, and I believe when it's finalized, when you watch it, you'll think that could literally have been run on Netflix or on Hulu. You know, it's gonna be that level of production, so that's where I had to invest in a gimbal to make sure that this baddie had some stable shots. What else?
Show us your bathroom.
Show us the bathroom, okay. Weirdo. Before we go in there, one thing I want to show you guys. This is the future of the office. So we're dealing with some very limited space in here, and one of the biggest problems is all the microphone stands and all of the box light stands. So when the Aperture 120D is in the right place, I'm usually like tripping over it, or I need to move it to get something done. So what we're doing is we're gonna be installing these on the ceiling. And it's quite cool because this mechanism allows us to suspend either a light, a boom mic, really anything. You could put anything on the wall on the ceiling, sorry. And so what we have is basically this rectangular quadrant. And so not only does this thing go up, we have 4 of these, but you're also going to be able to slide it from left to right, from forward to backward. And so if we nail our positioning, in theory, we'll have the aperture 120D, we'll have this light suspended something like in the corner here. So yeah, it's gonna make the room feel a little smaller, but it will completely open up the flow. I won't be stepping on a pole, tripping on a pole. We'll be able to put a microphone on the ceiling so that, again, one less mic pole to step on, to trip on. The RGB lights, now, because they're not that strong, can actually be positioned a little closer to the wall and we don't see the whole stand. And we also get a little bit more of a premium look by getting kind of like this peel of a downward shooting RGB light. So we can get 2 of those. I'm hoping the setup plays out as I hope it will. Maybe that's an update video someday, but that was the idea. Yeah, this light's been awesome. I would say, even though I'm a huge proponent of buy any light, like I've bought the $40 lights on Amazon and to be honest, they work. The problem is there's no control of the luminance. So you have to control luminance by moving them further back, further forward. And to be honest, when you're starting, that's fine. You don't need to have it perfectly tailored in. The size of the softbox is also going to have some impact in the softness of the light. So there's a reason why this thing is so massive. It's just physics. They have to have more volume in order to really make that light soft. So splurge as you will. And here, so this is where business really gets done. Enough on that one. This is where the aperture box is currently sitting. Oh God, it's hot. Ooh, toasty. Here, more lights, cables, and a bit of a look into the usual of the office. It's a little chaotic in here. I do believe with a bit more space, it could be a little less chaotic, but I think the size is not the problem. It's probably the person inside of the space. So, you know, every time you point a finger, there's 3 pointing right back at you. Remember that. More box lights. Monitor, also my steamer. If ever I want to look extra fly, I come steam some clothing here. There's a shower in here. I don't think it's ever been turned on, and it's certainly a liability because it's literally over top of electronics. And then I also have one little thing up there, a little security camera. So yeah, we're not going to talk about what we saw the other day, just so you know it's there for next time. Okay, cool.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, no, it's fine. Now, let me show you where things have gone in just the last month. We have made some massive improvements that have made this space even more highly optimized. We went from having 2 desks to now having 3. So we've actually moved the standing desk all the way over here. We moved over the iMac Studio here with a dedicated monitor, so we have a proper desktop setup. This area is now used for file management as well as any editors that are working with me. And if I bring you over here, well, take a look at this. This is basically my short form content machine. This is where I've set myself up with a dedicated desk. I can put my computer here, notes here, any props that I might need to have an easy access to. And right here is something I am extremely excited about. This is the best teleprompter. When I was in the US, I picked up one of these. These are about 300 bucks, and this is the Ferrari of teleprompters. Most prompters I've had have involved connecting a second device. It could be an iPhone, it could be an iPad, but it created a really clunky and not so nice user experience. So I got the Elgato Teleprompter Pro, I think. And ultimately, what happens is you've got a built-in display here. This can act as a monitor on my computer. I can see my Zoom chat, I can see my talking points, and they show up right here in front of me for me to be able to look directly at my camera, just like that. And now any of my scripts will just play out nicely in front, and I can read them off very easily. And it means that not only am I faster to get through my filming, but it's so much easier for my editors. Now they're able to get a much more cohesive take. And get this, when I'm doing my scripts, normally I'm alone. I'm not usually with a teammate who can start and stop the teleprompter. Before, I would have a remote controller hiding in my crotch. I'd pull it out, try to hit the pause button if I miss my line, try to reverse it. It was a bit tedious. Let me show you the solution. I went and bought one of these. This is the Elgato teleprompter foot pedal, and now the center is play and pause. The left is to reverse my script, to go back up. If I want to go forward faster, I press on the right side, and all of a sudden my notes are starting to slide down faster. So I have full control without ever needing to give up my hands. It's a really beautiful thing, and when you cut out the frustrations of filming, of creating content, and you can make the whole process faster, that is literally money. So I'm excited to say that my short form content setup has never been more well optimized. But one of the biggest optimizations is not just the fact that we have the teleprompter, it's the fact that we now have certain things that are fixed in the room and do not move. And if you've ever tried to set up your setup, you know this can take 20 minutes, sometimes even upwards of an hour to get everything all tailored and all well set up. Now, well, check this out. We have a dedicated camera that stays on this tripod and stays put here. It is all set up in the settings I need it to be. The teleprompter is all ready to roll, and this has now been installed. Take a look at her glory. This is probably the single biggest optimization I brought to my tiny office. When you're dealing with a small space, I was tripping over wires, cables, tripods, and now I can just take this and I can slide my lights around wherever I need them. So I can move it horizontally, I can move it vertically, and the whole rack allows me to move the lights wherever I need. So when it's filming time, they're kind of in a dangerous place here. I bring these RGB lights closer to the wall and I go for a split effect. Right now I'm going for a purple on the right, a blue on the left. I bring the lights in nice and close to the wall because it just brings a little bit more color. And I shut my curtains so that I get more of the color through. Once I open the curtains up and we have all the natural daylight, it does wash out the RGB lights a little bit. So closed curtains, it improves the acoustics in here. Now because these are RGB, of course I can change them to any color. If I want, I can go with white light, I can go with blue light, I can make it green. But when I'm all done, I don't want this head hitting hazard. So I just slide it back here, all the way into the corner. Over here, I can do the exact same. And on a separate rail, I have my beautiful Aperture 120D. And so this light can also slide on its own axis. So one of the last refinements I can think of adding to this room is potentially I might go ahead and hang up another one of those suspenders, and from there I might attach a microphone. What that would do is it would allow me to have some sort of a boom microphone. Let's say I'm here recording. I could have a microphone, pull it down, and just like that it would be out of frame, pointing downward. You wouldn't see it as the viewer, and I would have amazing audio. So that's the last refinement that I can currently think of. I feel like I've kind of hit the max out of this space. Although there is one last thing that really optimized this whole place. What do you think? Are they ready for it? I don't know if you're ready for it. Bobblehead me. Slightly creepy, highly effective. The last thing that I've actually made a big change to is the aesthetics. So before we had this kind of warmish, brownish wall. It was never meant to look like that, but I never did anything about it. Well, now we have something that looks more concrete-esque, a bit of a dark gray, and we have the shelving all done in that beautiful black, which looks a lot cleaner and a lot more premium. But a thing I like about the gray backdrop is when I'm working with my RGB lights, it allows me to have way more control. If I want to make this area look pink and girly, great. If I want to go for a dark, intimidating aesthetic, I can work with my RGB lights and dial that in. So it allows me a lot more flexibility. I'm excited about this setup. It is the process of multiple years of refinements, finding areas that needed improving, and I don't know if I've hit my ceiling, but I'm pretty excited about where I'm at. So very soon here, I'll be giving you a tour of my newest studio. one that has taken me about 3 years to build. But for today, there's one thing I want to share with you, and that is that I'm holding a live stream, and I want you to be there because it is the key to freedom as a content creator. I am ungatekeeping what most people would put into their high-price masterminds and programs, and I'm just giving it to you. These are the same things that allowed one of my students, Will Tevs, to go from earning $1,500 a month, just scraping by as a creator, to today making $25,000 every single month and counting. He now lives a life where he's traveling the world, he's been able to outsource much of his work, and I am going to give you that in this live stream. If you're thinking to yourself, I don't have any followers, how could I possibly make a living as a creator? No stress, because Will has literally built this entire income without a following. Renee, one of my other students, she quit her 9-to-5 to go all in on content creation, and she has replaced her income living in the US, and she has 3,000 followers that she doesn't even use. This strategy and more is what you'll be getting out of a 1-hour live. Check that link down below. It's completely free. The only cost is not taking action. See you there.